Hey everyone, how are we doing today? We are the real estate ladies of North Atlanta, Mary Ellen Benaken, Susan Jennings. And today we are going to be talking about what are the differences between mortgage pre-qualification and pre-approval. I know that that's a topic that people get confused on. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to first talk about our neighborhood that we love in Alpharetta. We also are going to talk about one of the things we love about North Atlanta. And then we are going to talk about one of our designer tips of the day. So, Sue, we're going to talk about today. The neighborhood is Towns on Thompson.
Right.
And it's on Thompson Street in downtown Alpharetta. And I'll let you go away and tell us all about it today.
The Towns on Thompson is being built by the Providence Group, and it's 48 three-story homes starting in the mid to high 900s. And it's absolutely luxury living on Thompson Street. These are beautiful townhomes. I've been in them. A lot of them feature beautiful quartz countertops on the islands from Cambria, of all places, as far as quartz is concerned. And it's so nice to be on Thompson Street because you're so close to downtown Alpharetta. You can also walk to Avalon, and you're close to the Alpha Loop, and you're also close to the Thompson Street Park and the Brook Street Park, which are right there in downtown Alpharetta. All of these homes feature two-car garages. They have terrace level suites and definitely are low maintenance. So if you're looking for living in a luxury home in one of the most sought after cities at the Atlanta area, that's Alpharetta. And it's vibrant, it's exciting, and you can just step outside your door and enjoy a wonderful live, work, play environment. And Providence Group builds homes with quality and attention to detail. Plus, the location just can't be beat. So
yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, downtown Alpharetta, how can you go wrong? You can walk to all the shops, you can have dinner, you can have drinks.
Right.
It's really a lifestyle. People they want to come home if they're driving around because I guess, a lot of people who've lived in Alpharetta for a long time, like we have, it's like when our kids are around, we're in the car all the time. We're driving from this sports to that sports to school to here and there. So I think sometimes people are like, you know what? I just want a lifestyle that when I'm done with that during the day, after the day, I just want to walk. I want to walk to dinner. I want to walk to the restaurants. I want to get my exercise too. So it's another place where you can just go and exercise. So thank you for that great tip of Towns of Thompson on Thompson Street in downtown Alpharetta. So let's dig into our topic of the day is what is the difference between a mortgage pre-qualification and a mortgage pre-approval? So you want to dig in?
A lot of people get this confused, Mary Ellen, because they use the terms interchangeably, and they actually are different. So that's why I wanted to talk about this today, because there are distinct differences.
Okay.
So let's talk about a mortgage pre-qualification first. Let's define it, and so everybody knows what it is. A pre-qualification is an initial assessment of a borrower's ability to obtain a mortgage. It's a relatively simple and quick process where the borrower provides very basic financial information to the lender.
Yeah, and I think that that's what's important. So most people say, oh yeah, I'm pre-approved, but no, they're not, they're pre-qualified. So basically it's maybe a 15-minute conversation with the lender. And of course you must have a conversation with the lender if you're unless you're buying cash, to purchase a property or to even see a property now. So it's very important that you get that pre-qualification. You are not tied to that lender. You just, and we have lenders on call all the time that can just pre-qualify you, send us a letter so that we can go see properties right away if you're in that mode.
Okay. Right. So what's the process is the next thing I wanted to talk about. So basically the borrower provides information about their income, their assets, their debts, their credit score, and all to the lender. And this can just be done over the phone or online with a lender. You don't need to go into, a local bank branch or anything like that. This can all be done over the phone because it is a quick process. The lender will then just perform a preliminary evaluation based upon the information that was provided, but typically does not verify any of this data and does not perform a credit check at this point.
Right. Yeah. So I think that that's important too, is that you have to just be trustworthy with the lender, because they're going to give you pre-qualification. And then once you dig in and start going towards the pre-approval process, then that's the time where you're going to give all your documents. You're going to have the conversation also of like, what do you want your mortgage to be? Because a lender, when you're talking on the pre-qualification, you can say to the lender, well, I only want a mortgage payment of $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month. What can I afford with the interest rate right now?
So the outcome of this initial process then is the lender is able to provide the borrower with an estimate of how much the borrower can actually afford or be able to borrow to purchase a home. The borrower will receive a pre-qualification letter from the lender. It's an informal document, and it just indicates a potential for their buying power. It's not a commitment by the lender to lend.
Yeah. So I think that that's important. So I think we've really clearly distinguished what pre-qualification is. So if you're working with an agent, your agent, when you first have a buyer consultation with them, they're going to ask you, have you been pre-qualified? And they're going to say, yes, here's the letter from the lender. Okay. You're not committed to that lender. There's no commitment yet. This is just an idea for you to go out shopping.
And so what it does for us is it enables us to, as realtors, to show our buyers homes that fit their price range, because we never want somebody to fall in love with a home that they cannot afford and cannot buy.
Right. And I think that that's the most important thing, because when people start shopping for homes, they go and they have one expectation, and or they say, I only want to spend a certain amount. Say, I only want to spend 400,000. And when they start looking at, even though they can afford 600,000, right? Because they're being conservative, which is always a good thing to be, except they start looking at $400,000 properties and they're like, well, that doesn't fit all my criteria. So then that you can move up to that next level of what you're comfortable with. And that's what's really important. We never say to someone, we just say, what are you comfortable with? We don't say, hey, you're qualified to this certain amount. What price point are you comfortable with? And then we start there. And then if you really can't find anything you don't like and you're qualified for more, then we'll go up in the search.
Right. So we're talking about the pre-qualification, which is an informal process, an informal letter, not a commitment. And now we're going to talk about the pre-approval process, which is it's more thorough. It's a more formal process where the lender will actually verify the borrower's financial information that was provided. And the lender will then assess the borrower's ability to actually obtain a mortgage. So with this process, the buyer is going to actually submit a detailed mortgage application, usually online through the portal of that lender's site. And along with that information, the borrower will upload documentation such as income verification, such as pay stubs, tax returns. They will also upload financial statements of their asset statements, and any debt information that they have. The lender will then perform a detailed credit check and verify this information provided by the borrower.
Yeah, so I think that people need to know that you're talking to the lender, but then behind the scenes, all that data information is going to people that work on their team that go through underwriting and work on the underwriting file and things like that. So, Sue, I know that people go, well, I'm really nervous about, putting my information online and stuff. So it is a secured
It
line.
is. It
So
is.
you're the only one that can get into there. And honestly, if you
Right.
get locked out, it's a pain in the butt to get into it. You know what I mean? So remember your password, remember what you're supposed to be doing. So that information is going into this portal that is sitting there. And I always tell people, if the lender or underwriter, whoever on their team is asking you for the same information, don't say, I already gave you that. Just send it to them again, because sometimes things, get pushed on the wrong plate or whatever. So just be prepared to having to send information multiple times.
Right. And I also recommend that people don't send things to the lender piecemeal. Try to get all your documents together at once and upload everything at once so that the lender gets everything at one time and then can go through their checklist to verify that they have everything that they need. Another thing is you may get contacted by people that work on the team for the lender that are, authorized to access your file by the lender, by the bank, by the financial institution that you're working with. And that's okay, because there are underwriters, there are different people that will be touching this file as a check and balance in their processing of the mortgage itself. So you always want to verify that you're talking to somebody that is on the team. You can call your lender back and say, hey, Mary Ellen contacted me from da 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 da. Is she actually on your team? Is she verified to access my file? And the lender will tell you yes or no with that person. So don't be afraid if you get an email from somebody else that's part of the bank, part of that mortgage team. They're working on your file, trying to get it through underwriting and ultimately getting it to contract to closing and so forth. But basically, once this processing takes place, the lender will then be able to issue a formal pre-approval letter, which is a document that states that the borrower is pre-approved for a specific loan amount subject to certain conditions. So that might be property appraisal or final loan underwriting. The pre-approval letter is a stronger commitment from the lender and indicates that the borrower is a serious candidate for that mortgage. So, it is important that we get to this step and get this information from the lender.
Yeah. And Sue, let's just touch base. So we have an amazing lender that will take them through the pre-approval process, through underwriting, and ready to go. And all we have to do is find a property. So that's another stronger. So if you think about it, the pre-qualification is, okay, not that strong. Then you go to the pre-approval, which is stronger. But then you can go through something that our lender will give us stating that this client has gone through underwriting and is approved for this dollar amount. We're just waiting to find a property that fits that criteria.
So, Mary Ellen, sometimes I'll be working with a buyer and the buyer will find a house for $410,000, but the mortgage pre-approval is only for $400,000. So with our lenders, we are able to go back to our lender and explain that situation and say, hey, could they be approved for $10,000 more? And a lot of times people can be approved for just a little bit more. And so we can still get them into that house that they've fallen in love with. So there is a little bit of movement in that number. If we have to go a little bit higher, we can usually do it.
Yeah. And then a lot of people, I just want to say this, that a lot of people are like, well, if they can afford, say if their letter says 500, but they're only putting in an offer for 400, they want the lender to change that letter because they don't want the seller to know that they have more money and they can go higher. Right. So I think that sometimes lenders will do two different pre-qualification letters.
Right. Yeah.
And one would be putting a specific property in there that they can afford that property, or putting in a dollar amount. So remember that too when it comes to getting those letters from the lender.
So when we submit an offer on a property, we do always submit the pre-approval letter with the offer for the property, because it shows that our buyers are strong, that they're financially qualified, and that because we're already at a pre-approved level with this letter, we are not going to have any problems. Hopefully, not going to have any
Or
problems.
surprises, or surprises,
Or
right?
surprises.
Any
To get
surprises
the
like,
home
whoops,
to
where'd
get
that
the home
happen?
to closing. Right,
Yeah,
right. I mean, I should never say never. Everything happens in this business, but we try to be as prepared and, as possible going into all this.
great. Well, that makes sense. So I think that the average person doesn't, now they can understand that we're at pre-approval, we're at pre-qualification, and then we are at, we lost you for a second, Sue.
Yeah,
We lost you
there
for a
we are.
second. So I was just talking about pre-approval, pre-qualification, and then hey, we're already through underwriting. We got a letter, something to prove that. So those are like kind of the three levels, so that the average person can understand that, because they're not in our world that we're in every single day. So we can explain it a little better. What else do we have to talk about on this topic?
Well, I just really want to summarize the differences, just to wrap things up here. The difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval is the depth of the evaluation that the mortgage lender is going to. That assessment, and it's based upon, the financial health of the borrower. The difference, number two, that I want to mention is the formality and the commitment from the lender is not formal with the qualification, but is more formal with the pre-approval, because the buyer has actually applied for a mortgage and so forth with the pre-approval process. And the lender has said that they do intend, subject to certain conditions, lend to this particular borrower for the mortgage. And then the third big difference is the impact on home buying. A pre-approval carries a lot more weight. It's a lot more valuable in the home buying process. And it gives the buyers a very strong position when they make an offer, because it shows that, they can move forward on this property and they're a qualified buyer. And that's what we want.
Great. Well, that was some great information. So if you need any other information on the differences or help, we're always here to assist you. Follow us on our social media, look at our blog, look at our, Facebook, look at everything that we have. We have information. We are really tuned for information, especially on our website, northatlantaluxury.com. There's always information about the buy process, the sell process that you can do any time of the day. You can look online and look at that stuff. All right. So thanks for that great information, Sue. So the next segment that we're going to talk about is what we love about North Atlanta. And today we're going to talk about Avalon Nights Live. And so just so that you know, Avalon is located in Alpharetta. And it's like a live, work, play place, just like downtown Alpharetta, but it's so close. You can walk in between the two of them. So tell us about this great event that they have every Friday from April to October from 6 to 8. Tell us about it.
So Avalon is conveniently located, first of all, right off of exit 10 of Georgia 400. That's the Old Milton Parkway exit, and it sits on the west side of 400. Avalon Nights Live takes place between April 5th and April 25th. October 25th. And it's every Friday night from 6 to 8 p.m. And so just grab your friends, come to Avalon, get prepared to dance on the green. There's live music, and there are about 25 different venues to eat dinner at. You can grab food and just do takeout and sit at one of the tables outside and just watch, enjoy, the music, and just relax.
And it's all about community. It's all about bringing the community together. So people are having fun. You have little kids dancing. They're doing bubbles. They're having a great time. You actually can shop too if you want. I mean, you can hang out, shop, you can eat, there's just so many things to do. So actually, it's really a fun event. It's to bring you outside of your house on a Friday night to just communicate with people in the community. So Avalon Night Lights, it's right on the green in Avalon in Alpharetta. All right, so we're going to segue into our next segment, which is the design tip of the day. Yeah. And today we're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about? Some color schemes, some focal points, and some rugs. So those are the three things we're going to talk about. So Sue, let's dig into the first one, color schemes. I don't know. I can't say that. It's hard to say, but go ahead.
So the first thing I want to emphasize is that you should choose a color scheme that makes you feel happy, that makes you feel good, and that creates the desired atmosphere that you're looking for in your home. Lighter colors can make a room feel more spacious. Darker colors can make it feel cozier or moodier. And sometimes there's a nice contrast between light and dark. You know, right now in homes, one of the popular trends is white walls, but maybe you want to mix in some dark colors with that, whether it's in your sofa or cabinetry color, light fixtures, things like that. Just pick a color scheme and stick to it. Usually I say to people, don't go beyond 3 colors in your color scheme. Kind of keep it together. And remember that colors don't need to match. They need to blend. So like if you're working with a blue color scheme, make your blues blend.
Yeah, and I have a good tip to that too, because especially if you're, DIY, do it your own, you can go to Sherwin-Williams, you can go to Lowe's, you can go to Home Depot, and they have so many color palettes there. So you can take them and take the little, what are they, like little, I don't know, strips that have all the different colors, and pick a bunch that hit your eye. And then come back to your house and kind of put them on the wall and see how they are, like put them and look at them in different kinds of light, whether it's daylight or nightlight, and see if you like it. So, and I like that because they'll also tell you what accents those colors too. So whether you go to Sherwin-Williams, whether you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, you're going to get that information. And like I said, make it your own. So just kind of make it your own. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is
create focal points in your rooms. It doesn't necessarily have to be around a fireplace. It can be a focal point of a staircase, for instance, or of a window that's one of your favorites, or a favorite piece of furniture. So what you want is to draw the eye to that focal point when people enter the room, so that you can accentuate the features of that item, whether it's a built-in or a window, whatever it is, and you can create your own focal point. And don't forget to highlight these focal points with special lighting as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with that 100%. What's your favorite focal point in your house?
Oh, mine would actually probably be, well, I've got a couple.
Okay. Well, fire away. I think I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
I have a staircase that I absolutely love with windows behind it. And then I also have a fabulous fireplace, but then again, I have more than one fireplace. So a lot of that I'm accentuating with the color of the cabinetry around the fireplace. What they call those, like library lights above the shelving up on either side of the fireplace, to create a mood and to create a highlight of that space.
Yeah, and I think that people, like, when they think of focal points, they get all confused, and it's like, and they don't realize, oh, well, most people have a fireplace. So just make that a focal point and have put in shelves next to them, put in some cool lighting, put in some cool colors, and that'll do it. But I would say one more thing that I always, whenever I would come to your house, I would see is your piano, because that is like a piece that, so if you are like into music and you have a piano, Sue has amazing piano, and it's like you walk in, every time I walked in I've known her forever, but every time I walk into our house, it's like your eyes go straight to that beautiful piano in your living room, whatever you want to call it, living/family, whatever you want to call it. And I just feel like people don't realize that those type of things are such a focal point in it.
Right. And I have a new location for my piano in my new home that I'm currently building. For people that don't know me, I do have a certification in interior design. And also I'm left brain, right brain. But anyway, my new location for my piano is going to be underneath my floating staircase in my foyer. So we will make sure once that all finishes up in a couple months, we will take photos of that and make sure that that goes out on, our social media so that everybody can see it, because
Yeah.
it's something I worked with the architect to have this beautiful backdrop of windows, an amazing railing on the staircase, and then, of course, my beloved piano underneath the staircase. So just
Yeah.
a little different treatment of, how to create, an interesting environment in an interesting space.
Also, other focal points outside, whether it's a
Mhm.
pool, whether it's an outdoor kitchen, whether it's an outdoor fireplace, whether it's a screened in porch, whatever it is, those are great focal points, because I know that if I'm sitting in my kitchen and I'm looking out the window, I am looking at
Mhm.
great outdoor kitchen there
Mhm.
with flowers and everything around it. So the focal point when you walk outside on the patio is going to be that outdoor kitchen with all the
Mhm.
flowers surrounded by it. And you don't realize how much that if someone's never met you and they come in your house, what are they going to look at first? So I always think of, what is someone going to look at first when they walk into your house or walk into a room? So
Right. And at some point, we will do some social media posts about Mary Ellen's outdoor kitchen and my outdoor kitchen, because they're very, very different, but they
very
both serve
different.
the same purpose, and they have very different locations and layouts and so forth. So we will work on that in the next couple of months too. But just to wrap up our design tip of the day, I wanted to mention one other thing about rugs.
Yes.
And rugs are a great place where you can bring in a lot of color into a room, or you can use it to divide spaces, because a lot of our homes now are very open concept and we need to create cozy spaces. So a rug is one way that you can do that. And one thing that I usually say to people that I work with is that when you decorate a room, start with the most expensive piece in the room. And for a lot of people that really do love beautiful rugs, like wool rugs and so forth, maybe that rug is the most expensive item in the room. And then you build the room from the most expensive piece to the least expensive piece. So rugs can be different colors, different textures, and different hues to define spaces within your home.
Yeah, and especially if you have a house that has, like, I have bad allergies, so we don't have any rugs in our house. I mean, like rugs, like we have hardwood floors everywhere, so we do
Mhm.
have rugs all over the place. So every room kind of has this little feel with a rug, whatever colors we're bringing out and stuff too. And
Mhm.
not only rugs can be also very affordable too.
Mhm.
You can find them online. You can go into Home Depot and Lowe's. I mean, there's just so you can find so many different things. The thing is just measuring the space of where you want to put the rug and then put your furniture around it too as well.
Right, right. And I can talk a little bit more in detail about how large a rug should be in a space. We can do that in a future podcast. And I would also like to talk about in a future podcast about layering different patterns and textures and colors, like when you do your pillows on your sofa and so forth. So everybody needs to check back in with us and stay tuned, because I will be covering all these things in future episodes.
Yeah, and one more thing, outdoor rugs have become so popular,
Hmm.
so popular. So whether it's in a screened in porch, whether it's just on your patio, underneath your table, just also breaking up your patio. If you have a large patio or it's long, you have an area where you might have a fire pit, you have an area where you have your seating, you have an area where you have your lounge chairs. So just kind of separating that area. You have one big space on a patio, and you can actually make it into little spaces by using rugs.
Right, right. And the other thing I'm going to be covering going forward is how all this should flow from indoor living to outdoor living, because here in the South, that seamless living space, indoor to outdoor and outdoor to indoor, is very, very important to us.
Yeah, and I will tell you that because like we put in a sliding door from our kitchen out to our patio, and that was like the best thing we ever did. And also now everybody has those doors and windows that go from indoor to outdoor space whenever you want it. So it actually doubles your space with your patio. So those are definitely things that are trending in the area right now.
Those are Western walls, Mary Ellen. And
Western walls, that's what they call. I don't know what anything's called. I'm just like, I want that. Okay, what is that? I have no idea. So you're my
two of those coming up in my new house, and one of those is 16 feet wide by about 9 feet tall. So stay tuned. We will do a lot of videos of that house as it finally finishes up and gets all these beautiful details at it.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. We're the Real Estate Ladies of North Atlanta. Thanks for your points today, especially your design tips of the day, and talking about pre-qualification and pre-approval with mortgages and what we love about North Atlanta. You can follow us on social media. We'd love for you to follow us and see what we're up to. Take care and have a great day. Bye.
Bye.